We're learning more about what led to a deadly shooting spree over the weekend in the IE. 2 people were shot and killed outside a shopping center, followed by an off-duty deputy taking out the suspected gunman.
And Eyewitness News reporter Leticia Juarez is live in Fontana with new details on this story. Leticia.
Well, I'll tell you this, David and Giovanna, we've learned from police that at the time of that shooting, there was plenty of law enforcement in the area, most of them off duty, enjoying the night with their families. But unfortunately, they were unable to do anything about the shooting that took place just outside the sushi restaurant, telling us that it was a domestic violence situation where a woman in the process of getting a divorce was tracked down by her estranged husband, who then shot her and her date here in this parking lot.
We gain all this weight during our pregnancy because we're not taught how to properly eat.
Social media influencer and fitness coach Gloria Zamora inspired busy women to get and stay fit. But behind the strength she exhibited on camera, her personal life was taking a hit. Zamora spoke out about her pending divorce to her thousands of followers just last week on the Horizon podcast.
Instead of you being supportive, you're over here trying to just bring me down.
On Saturday night, the 40-year-old alongside 43-year-old Hector Garduno was shot and killed outside a Fontana sushi restaurant.
There was a male and a female that were estranged. They're going through a divorce that led to this.
Investigators say Zamora's estranged husband, Thomas Alberto Tamayo Lizarraga, gunned down the two in the parking lot.
We don't know how he knew where she was at, but apparently she had been at the restaurant for approximately an hour prior to the shooting.
The shooting caught the attention of several off-duty law enforcement officers in the area who responded to the sound of gunfire, including an off-duty San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy.
Apparently he was driving on the street outside of the shopping center and heard the gunshots and saw what had happened, made a U-turn at the light and got out of his vehicle to confront the suspect.
Lizarraga was shot and killed during the confrontation. In a GoFundMe page set up for Zamora, her daughter stated that her mother was murdered by her stepdad. Both victims leave behind children. Zamora, a mother of 7, is described as a woman who uplifted others, while Garduno is remembered as a hardworking and devoted father of 4 girls. Now, we spoke to police about the ongoing investigation. They are gathering information. As for the off-duty deputy, they are not releasing his identity at this time. We can also tell you that according to the National Domestic Hotline, women in the process of leaving or separating from their intimate partner are most at risk for domestic violence. Reporting live here in Fontana, Leticia Juarez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
I want to start off by saying condolences to both parties who lost their lives, right, innocently. And my condolences definitely goes out to the kids, because now the kids are left to pick up the pieces. It's so sad because the influencer, the TikToker, or, she was an influencer on many different platforms. Who does her kids have? Because now not only did they lose their mom to a man who had no self-control, but now he's no longer in the picture because he was taken out by law enforcement. Mm-hmm. So her 7 kids has no one. And as we all know from what we heard, all of the kids are not his, because they said that one of her daughters created a GoFundMe, right, to raise money for her mom because she was killed by her stepdad, unfortunately. And it just says to me that when you have 7 children or even 4 children or more, right, and especially in this day and age, a lot of people are not even willing to accept anyone with more than 1 to 2 kids. Right? Correct. So we have to recognize...
It's a cold world. It's a tough world.
Right. So we have to recognize that the complexity of dating with 7 kids is going to be a lot harder than dating with 1 or 2 kids. Correct. As females, because I've watched a lot of TikToks and social media shorts and reels and so on and so forth, where women are suffering from delusion, okay? Where they're honestly talking about, I have X amount of kids, I'm not waste goods, I can still date and I can still do this and I can still do that. But in my seldom opinion, if you have 7 kids, where are we finding time to date, right? Yes, she was about 40, so I'm assuming depending on the age that she decided to have kids, maybe some of her kids could be in their 20s all the way maybe to, even if she started a little later or they're not in step ages, they could be little toddlers, right?
There's a young one in the bunch somewhere.
Right. But you say to yourself once again, because I know personally, if I had 7 kids and I was not in a relationship, I'd just be out of a relationship. And to keep it all the way a buck, I know a lot of people are probably thinking about, sexual satisfaction and sexual gratification.
There's many ways to do that
You
too.
better visit the store on West 9th or in the Village in New York City and get yourself some, you know what I mean, to keep yourself happy.
Right.
Because at least not only will you be safe,
Right.
but you will definitely
Stay healthy.
and be here for your kids. And I'm not trying to be rude or funny, but sometimes we have to learn to accept reality. Forget the delusion. Accept reality. You produce 7 children. The main reality of this situation at hand should be, I'm not dating anybody, even if I don't work out with the current person or whomever. I'm just going to be by myself and focus on my children.
Yeah, but
to
keep trying, it's delusional.
Right.
It's delusional. You know
At
what I'm
least
saying?
until your youngest is maybe 15, 16. You know, like I said, forget the TikToks. You know, unfortunately, they're no longer here with us, right? But I'm saying this to the ones who are out there producing a bunch of kids and they're not in a stable relationship,
Right. Trial
and
and
they're
error.
just having kids all over the place, and they're thinking that they're going to be able to get a man to accept them with all these kids. And some people are settling for a less to nothing man because they have all these kids, and they're just trying to prove to people that I could still get in a relationship. It just needs to stop.
In the U.S. alone, there's 23 million kids living in single-parent household. 23 million. The decision-making skills from the adults are just, I would say they're kind of selfish. You should know better that if you have 7 kids, put a stop to certain things. There's no more trial and error. You done trial and error 7 times already.
I would honestly say, like, you know, even though we're saying what we're saying, it's not going to stop
No, promiscuity.
it's not going to stop the promiscuity. It's not going to stop the delusion of others who are listening to these TikToks that are having a negative impact and influence on many young women. So I'm just going to basically go over the warning signs, right? Because there's warning signs that we should all look out for. Knowing the person's past relationship, right? How were they in their past relationship?
They would never really tell you that.
They might not tell you, but if you're hearing through the grapevine, because a lot of times these relationships are not just all hunky-dory from the beginning. Sometimes there's an ex yelling from the mountaintop that he's abusive, he's done such and such, and you with yourself, you're thinking, he's not going to do that with me. He's this type of guy from what I could see. No, you have to really home in and kind of see whether or not if this person has anger issues, temperament problems. Also, when it comes to securing your kids, you cannot go out there and introduce people to your kids right away. Right? They don't even need to know where you live. I mean, like, come on, honestly, you know, and I see so many situations where people are moving in like right away, and
Oh, yeah. Securing the
you
deal.
gotta be careful.
Securing the deal.
You gotta be careful. Following warning signs, knowing whether or not if that person is jealous. They, when it comes to possessions, are they the type of people also that don't want you around friends and family?
Yeah.
Are they trying to constantly keep you to themselves? Right. That's
Right.
what I mean when I say like they want possession of you.
But you know what? It's easier said than done. That to the point where you can meet somebody today, and they would continue with this so-called facade cover up for months, even years, and you would never really know that that's that person that you just came across until
That's true.
maybe something slight that you may have done and they snapped. Because if it's not in you, you cannot pretend but so long.
That's
Always have a way out. Do not allow that person to control your finances. Do not allow that person to control your savings or whatever. Always have something put aside somewhere where maybe they don't know about it, just in case you got to make a dash and they start treating you like, hey, you're not going away, you can't do nothing without me, I made you, I build you, this, that, and the third. It's always good to have that type of outlet saving. Violence of any sort is not condoned within this circle here that you see. Verbal, physical, any type of violence is not condoned. A lot of times in life, people go through things and emotion run wild, and then it's like you can't control it. But at sometimes you have to learn that there is a level to your actions. Like every action, it happens. Every action has a reaction, so to speak, right?
Consequence, right.
They don't think a lot of times when they do these things. Yeah, you're upset, you're pissed, divorce, whatever the case it might be. I wouldn't say that things happen, but unfortunately it does. Right now we're dealing with a large population of domestic violence within a lot of these relationships now. It doesn't matter what part of town you may live in, but in our part of town, in the northern region, New York, whatever the case it might be, it's a large population, right? 4 out of 10 women right now, it's 47, and 3 out of 10 men, 26%, right, normally ends in fatality.
Wow, that's a lot.
Over 61 million female and 53 men fatality.
Wow.
So that's kind of saying something. It's if you don't know how to read between the lines, it's kind of telling you something, that there's either a bunch of over-sexualized people, or the decision making are just not together. A lot of times people move with what they see. They move with the emotions, they move with the lust, and they move with whatever, and they're not really thinking about the consequences of maybe losing a family.
Also, be careful with that online dating.
Oh man, that's the
that thing
worst.
right there, it could be a mess. I mean, it's just so many things. If you are a person with kids, your kids should come first and foremost, not dating.
Okay.
Focus home in on raising those kids, being there to support them, because more so now than before, a lot of people out there are nuts. You heard the numbers of single family homes.
Correct.
So that means that we're rushing into things, right? And I know a lot of people blame the man. No, you have to have your spider senses.
It takes two.
Right, but you have to have your spider senses up. Yeah, you could blame the man all day, but think about it. You blame the man, you're still the carrier. You're the one that's going to get stuck with the kid, not the man, right? So now you're going to have to play, well, you can't even play mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? Because in all reality, a woman can only be a mother or a woman. That's another facade that a lot of women run around pretending to be. I could be the mom and the dad. No, you're one sex. You're one person. Okay, DNA, genetical makeup is of a woman. You cannot be both parties. So the best thing to do is you got to safeguard yourself. Forget about the man. You have to safeguard yourself. The reason why we come down so hard on women is because the ending product, which is a child, is your responsibility. The child stays with you. You know what I'm saying? And you want to be able to raise your kid in not only a stable home, but you want to be there to raise your child. Most importantly, it's nothing better than, even with us, our kids, they come to us and they say, you know something, mom, they say certain things and it just hits home for me. I'm like, oh my goodness, so it just allows us to know that not only are they stable, but they're happy in their environment, right? And every child deserves a stable environment, no matter what you may think, no matter what you may feel. Is nothing better than a 2-parent household. Now, if you're a widow, or if it's something outside of, something that you couldn't control, then that's different. But for the most part, in continuation, try to make better decisions.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna wrap this video up right now. But like I said, you can only say certain things that's going to lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it.